would like to welcome Swati ma'am, the Executive Director of INSAP Education, Mr. Manish Sharma, our esteemed speaker for the evening, Ganesh sir, the principal for the School of Shridi, all the dear PTA members, my dear parents, as well as all my dear teachers. We have gathered here for a very important topic which we are facing, especially during the time of that is parenting. You all know that the little ones are at home for throughout the time. We are busy with them with something or the other. As a mother, I can also understand. So, fear and uncertainty and being holed up at home due to the spread of COVID-19 make it tough to keep a sense of calm. But at the time, it's very important to help your child feel safe and wanted at home. This is where positive parenting begins. To take us through this, I would like to welcome Mr. Manish Sharma, an inspirational speaker, a life coach, a soft skills trainer too. Welcome, sir. We all are very eager to hear some words of wisdom on parenting from you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Nazia, I'm grateful for the invitation. I'm thankful to everyone in your school who gave me this opportunity to be on this webinar. And yes, you rightly said this is one of the very, very important topic today. So I'll speak like a father also today because I'm a father of two teenage children. There is a saying that when you have a one child, you become a parent, but when you have two children, you become referee. So I am the referee these days, handling two teenage boys. And also I am teaching into various MBA colleges. So there also I'm handling a lot of teen and pre-teen students also in various schools about it. So I'll share my experience with all of you and consultants where we have almost 30 plus years of experience into teaching and training with the combined experience of various trainers, which we have it right now. Our main specialization is basically to teach our pre-teen and the teenage children, especially the 8 to 19 years of age group of children, where the foundation is being laid for them for their career about it, because these are the most formidable year of the children. We thought, let us impart some life skill training to them for it. And we also provide personal mentors and guides to the children to achieve their life goals. And all our trainers has to go through themselves our certification course, only then they can impart training on the behalf of Mantra. And our one motto is we want to prepare our children for life, not only a living. Living can give you some part of your life, but if you really want to lead a very, very happy life, then you need to learn on the right principles. I'm going to talk about it. So absolutely, we all have gone through a very, very challenging time in last 18 months or so. And I have been interacting in a lot of schools, a lot of colleges. And this is what the future of a child depends upon. There are two aspects for a success. One is the technical skills. Technical skills means a child is becoming a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, all these things. These all are the technical skills. Today, IT professionals are also technical skills acquired professionals. That gives you living about it. But to become very, very successful in your career, along with your technical skills, you also need to have your life skills. And I had seen a lot of engineers getting 90% marks, but when you put them on the stage, they have fear to death. This being saying in US that the number one reason for the death is cancer. Number two reason is death for the cancer. You know what is the number one reason? Number one reason is the fear of stage. People are scared of talking on stage. I mean, I had seen a lot of people interacting with their friends, the terminology they're using, the attitude they have it, they're struggling with that one, despite getting very good marks. We also have an organ in our vertical where we train students for banks and then we place them private sector banks. And today banks are not looking for how many marks you scored. They are talking about how well you can represent yourself in front of the customers. So life skill plays a very, very significant role. If you really want to build the life of your children, you got to teach them the life skill also. So they are not independent. We are not an independent word today. We are not in a dependent word today, but rather we all live into an interdependent word today. So similarly, technical skills and life skills are interdependent for each other. Now, what are the factors which are responsible for the success of a child? Normally, I say it's a three-way partnership. First, the student should be willing to succeed in life. And we should teach them the goal setting principle right from the beginning of their career also. I mean, I had seen a lot of MBA colleges, they not being taught even a single principle on the goal setting. I had not seen many school libraries where there are books on the goal setting or the life skill or the soft skills. They maybe have big management books, but you can hardly find the right life skill principles books in the library about it. So how the student will have a willingness to succeed? Then second one is the parents' support is very important. I mean, we teach our children, think big, and the child comes home, he says, you know what, Dad, I want to become a scientist. We say, forget about it. Or he says, Papa, I want to buy such a so expensive car. We say, pagal ho gaya. At the end, running an on one side, we teach our children how to think big. On the second things, when he demands something, we snub our children about it. So parent support is equally important. Third, very important is teacher excellence. Normally, when I take some session in my area vicinity where I'm putting them right now, which is in Chandigarh, which is North India city, and here when we take a session for the teachers, our main motto is let teacher become a coach rather than teaching. Because I don't know about Mumbai, but in Chandigarh, most of the teachers have only one goal: finish the syllabus, finish the syllabus, finish the syllabus on time. They end up finishing the syllabus, but does that solve the problem of a child about it? Do they understand the psychology of a child? So these three pillars go hand in hand. They are all interdependent to each other. If a teacher can become a coach, a parent can become a supportive, and a child have a right vision and a goal, and probably the child can achieve a success. So I'm going to talk about few principles, which is basically both for the parents as well as children. Now, during this last 18 months, which we have noticed as a psychologist or as a trainers or the life coach, few challenges which children are going through today. Number one, they are feeling very, very loneliness. If schools have opened, send them to school ideally, because for the last 18 months, they have been very, very loneliness feelings they have it. Second is they might have a depression on the anxiety challenges about it. Now, how do you know they have the anxiety or the depression challenges? Watch their appetite. Either they must be eating too much or they are not eating enough of it. Both are contributing to the anxiety or the depression about it. Very important to calculate or to keep an eye on that कि कहीं उनका their diet pattern may not have been radically changed in the last 18 months of time. If that is the case, it's time to address their emotional need or the basic needs about it. Or you notice they have withdrawn from the friends. Withdrawal from the friends have taken place, and they used to go around, they used to play around, but now they say we don't feel like going to them. Then withdrawal from the activities. There was a time when they used to play around like anything, but today the same children don't feel like playing. There's some change in the pattern of their sleep. That means the children are going through some anxiety or the depression symptoms, or their reluctance to participate in social activities. Maybe they, in your wherever you are putting up in your society, on your school, or your family functions, they have totally reluctant. They have become a reluctant in participating any of the social activities. Again, that's a signal towards the depression or the anxiety of it. Another thing is obesity. Are they not putting up some extra weight about it? Or their self-esteem is very low, very, very low. Check them out if that is not a case. Or sometimes they become a substance user, including the narcotic products or maybe drugs and all these things about it. I had seen a lot of teenage children falling into the prey of these substance abusers. Or they have become a risk takers in the sense they are driving their cycles or scooters very fast. That is again a signal of a depression or the anxiety about it. Or they have a lot of mood swings which is happening about it. They just start crying for no reason, so they become happy for no reasons about it. And they are the mood swing factors or the signals. Or they have become a very, very highly argumentative. For everything they are arguing with you, or they are defying rules. When you say sleep at 9 o'clock, this is why should we sleep on time? They are arguing on the every principles you have set up in the family. Or they have started bullying your their siblings about it. Or there is a huge sibling rivalry. By the way, I must tell you, the biggest factor for sibling rivalry is the parents. Never compare two children in your family, because that leads to sibling rivalry. Then anger and frequent emotional outbursts. The child start crying for no reasons about it and is very angry all the time. So these are some of the factors we have noticed in the last 18 to 24 months where the children are going through the depression or the anxiety. So if any of more than 3 to 5 factors are there, more minimum 3 or 3 and above factors are there in your children, which means they need some special attention right now, because they have going through some major psychological impact in their brain or the thought processes. Why? What are the reasons why teen or preteens behave like this? First, lockdown has really impacted badly on them. Next is the parenting. I mean, I'm a parent. I'm teaching to various colleges. I had seen none of the education institute have any module on parenting. We all are default parents. The way we have been treated by our parents is the same way we treat our children also. If our parents have scolded us for everything, we scold our children also the same thing, because that's how we learn parenting about it. So this is called default parenting. I wish our education system should introduce some modules at some level in the education and talk about the principles of parenting. Then there's a lot of peer pressure. Peer pressure means some of their friends have bought some, expensive gadgets, and then all of a sudden your child is facing that challenge. My friend have this and gadget, but I don't have it, or my friend is playing this game, I am not doing it. So that is another factor which is responding to this anxiety or the depression challenges. Then hormonal changes do take place at the age of 11 or 12, when secondary sexual behaviors or the signals they get it. Then exposure to social media have increased. Now even 13, 14, 12 years, 8-year-old children have their social media accounts. I have seen a lot of parents making their children Instagram accounts or the Facebook accounts. I mean, that's all crap. I mean, it's better let them to face the book rather than doing the Facebook. Then nuclear families is again biggest reason for it. There used to be a joint family where the grandparents used to teach their children the right principles. Today the maid comes, and with due respect, what principle a maid will teach to your child, what your grandparents can teach? My principles about it. So nuclear family is another factor which is affecting it. And another factor is games they are indulged in. I mean, most of the games are destructive games like PUBG and other games about it. I just want to tell you one real story of a child. If children are listening to it, they must listen to this story very carefully about it. There was a boy. He was around 6 or 7 years of age, and his father used to work for a corporate sector. His father never used to give enough of time to the child. And as a result, the father had a guilt feeling that I am not able to give enough time to my child. And one day he came back from the office a bit early. The son was playing in the garage. And then he went to the son and he says, let's play together. Son got so excited. He says, Dad, let's play a game. So he said, which game would like to play? The son said, you stab me, I stab you. That's the game the boy chose. Father found it's a very awkward game, but since he had a guilt feeling that I am not able to give enough time to my son, so he said, okay, let's play the game. He said, Dad, first you stab me, then I'll stab you. So the father, artificially showed him that I am tying your hand, and, just like artificially said, okay, just for a sign signal, I stab you. And then, the boy lied down, and after a few seconds, he got up. He said, now, Dad, is my turn. I'll stab you. So somehow he got a rope, and then he, tied his father. I mean, this 7-year-old child, I don't know how he tied this child this child tied his father very strongly, very tightly, in fact. And then he went to the kitchen and got a knife. Now the father realized something wrong is happening. He said, son, enough now. I'm very tired. Let's call it off. The son thought the father is getting into the game now, and he started laughing. Father requested to him, please release me over the game. And the son thought this father is doing all this acting to put interest into the game. And this boy picked up the knife, and 3 times he stabbed his father. And the father, in few minutes, died on the spot. The father started clapping. The boy started clapping. He said, Father, get up now. Let's play another game. Father was dead. The entire life, the boy lived with this regret that I killed my father. Now, when psychologists studied their life, the life of a boy, this is what they came to a conclusion. The boy used to watch a lot of movies, and he realized the real life, which is a movie, is as good as the real life. Now he had seen an actor being shot dead in one of the movie. In next movie, the same actor is there. So for him, death was not real. So he just stabbed his son, his father. That was the impact of that movies into his subconscious mind, and we changed the belief of this child, and the child ended up in killing his own father. Now, same thing applies when a child plays a game like PUBG and all these games, and they are very destructive games. You will notice that when the child plays this game for almost a month, his tone goes at a very high pitch. The child becomes very argumentative. He becomes a fighter with everyone in the family, because that's what the boy is, or the child is doing every moment he is picking up playing this game. Very careful as a parent. You should keep a watch which type of games the children are playing. Sometimes we are so busy, we give our mobile phone to our children. Okay, beta, play the game, so that the child will remain busy and we can do finish our own job. It's a double-sided sword. Very, very careful when your child is playing games on the mobile or the laptop. Keep a watch which type of thing, because this is going to play on their subconscious brain. Now, common mistakes by parents. First of all, if we talk about it, is this is for the parent. This slide is most important for the parents' point of perspective. Common mistakes parents do, which they should not do. First of all, parents normally give a call to the teachers of the child without their consent. Up to kindergarten is okay. If the child is second year and above, please, I would suggest you take the consent of your child, that I'm going to speak to your teacher and take a positive feedback about you. Very important. Never ever call their teachers without their consent. The child feels offended and humiliated, and that will create a gap between your and your child communication. Second is sharing of secret which they shared with you. Sometimes a child will come from a school and tell his mother, this is what has happened in the school. And the mother will tell this thing to the father. And the father comes home tired and he will immediately blast on the child. And second time, the child will not tell anything to the mother or the father, either of the parent. If a child has shared a secret with you, keep it with you. Never, ever, ever, ever do repeat this mistake of sharing this with the other partner. Then ignoring their parent presence. Today, everyone wants to become, to be recognized. Never ever ignore their presence. If they're sitting in a room, acknowledge it. Never ever brag them publicly. My son is like this, my daughter is like this, positive or negative, either way. Don't brag them. Children don't like that their parents are bragging about them. They feel, embarrassed. Then comparison with siblings. Never ever, compare to siblings. God has not given the same, unless they are twins, not the same face cuts to every child. Then who are we to compare them? And then we expect them, they will always do wrong things. We tell them to our children, I know you will do it like this. Please. That is reinforcing the mistake of a child, and that will lead to the more mistake by a child. You will reinforce the same mistake. The child will do more mistake. That's a vicious cycle. If you expect they will do the wrong thing, they will do the wrong thing. Expect they will do the right things. And then you repeatedly ask them to do a task. You will ask your child that, please keep this in the kitchen, in the sink. And the child will not do it for next 10 minutes. Then again, the mother will go to the room. I told you to do it. And the child will, I'll just do it in 5 minutes. Then another 10 minutes, again the mother would come. I told you, you have not done that. And the mother with anger will pick it up and take it to the kitchen. And the child is thinking, if I delay it, somebody else will do it. But he will feel so irritated, he will never do it. So once you gave a task to your child, Forget about it. Watch for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day. And eventually the child will do it. Because the child will realize it's all up to me. I'll have to do it today or tomorrow. Then assuming that they're lying. They might be lying to you. But a right parent will take it in a more positive spirit about it. Why child will lie? Because when he was telling you the truth, you reacted. You never responded. Remember, as a parent, it's a big responsibility not to react, learn to respond. Always respond to your children. Don't react to their whatever they're saying to you. And the worst comment we'll say to them is, I know better than you know of yourself because you are my son, my daughter. Oh, yes, nobody can deny that fact about it. But don't ever say that. Then you talk negative about their friends. Children don't like it. Children will never like that their friends should be, dragged into any of the conversations or taking negative about it. Not appreciable. These are some of the parents. As a parent, I have done that. Most of the parents have done that. So only suggestion is, nobody taught us when we became parent that this could happen. So, but today I can tell a lot of parents that please don't repeat this mistake. This will create a gap between the communication of yours and your parent, your children. Sometimes we only talk about, okay, 90%, 98%, 100% marks. I'm not saying marks are not important, but ask yourself, do you want your child to become a learned child or educated child? I had seen a lot of educated people struggling in life, but learned people are not. Make your child a learned person about it. I'm going to give you 6 or 7 tips in next 10 minutes. And this is how you can create a new rebound relationships with your children. The first one is set the family goals. When is the last time you sat down with your children and set a family goals? Normally we think children are small, so we should not share anything with you. No. What you should be doing it is, if I show you in my workstation, this is my dream book. This is thing which I do it. I share it with my children. I have made wherever I want to visit in my life. It's there. This is pasted over. I share it with my children that if I achieve success, this is what I'm going to achieve it. क्या आपने अपने बच्चों के साथ बैठ के कोई ड्रीम बुक बनाई है? क्या आपने अपने बच्चों से पूछा है कि बच्चे अगर पैसा होगा तो हम आपको कहां लेके जाएंगे? When is the last time you did that? My son wanted a bike. I have a picture for that. I want to take my son to this one. I want to give best of life to them. Not best according to my pocket, but best with what they deserve. Set the family goals. I had seen the families which set the goals together is the one which grows together. Just today only go and buy a scrapbook. Ask your children what type of house they want, what type of car they want, what type of dream they wanted. Paste the pictures in their dream book. Every day share with them, morning, evening, morning, evening, morning, evening. Just do it for 3 to 5 weeks. You will see a different bondage with the family. Just try it once. Because it's a family goal. Set a family goals together. Number 1 tip. Number 2, understand God has made different personalities. There are people like Choleric, very aggressive, restless. That's his personality. Your child may be very restless, which means a choleric. Whatever comes to on his mouth, he speaks. He or she speaks. Or he's a very sanguine, fun-loving one. Every time that you will see your child dancing, playing music and throwing things like that, that's a sanguine personality. Or he's a very thoughtful, very peaceful. He's a phlegmatic personality. Or he's a very particular melancholy. Everything should be in order. You will see the geometry box. Everything is in order. Bag is in order. Uniform is in order, which means your child is melancholy. You may have a different personality. You may be very meticulous. You need everything in order. Socks should always be in shoes. The bag should be on place. The uniform should be on its own place. But your child might be sanguine, fun-loving. He will come. He will throw things like left, right. So that's a sanguine personality. And normally, if your spouse may be a different personality together, you may be a very organized one. Your husband could be the most disorganized one, and then there is a clash. But that's a differentiation in the personality. A phlegmatic sanguine is a very, very stable one, whereas melancholy choleric is a very unstable one. Understand, God has given different personality to the word. Just because your child is not your personality doesn't mean he's not the right one. Maybe different personality together. So you got to understand their personality and work accordingly. If he's a fun-loving, he's a music lover, he or she is always dancing, so or she's a sanguine personality. Appreciate that. Third one, how about emotional bank account? Are you giving a lot of deposits or are you going for the lot of withdrawals? These are the few emotional bank accounts. Are you depositing in the bank account or are you withdrawing from the bank account all the time? You don't fulfill your expectations. You ignore their problems. They are negative bank accounts. If you withdraw all the time, don't deposit, is going to lead to a bankruptcy. Another one, most important one, is the power of words. What type of words do you use with your children? And children, what type of words do you use with your parents? There are two types of terminology, is hurting words or the healing words. Suffer. You are so, we just say to children casually, you're so idiot. You're so dumb. मुझे तो टेंशन हो रही है, हम खुद ही कह देते हैं. तुझे टेंशन नहीं होती पढ़ने की. I also say many times such things. They are hurting words. Rather, we should be using a lot of healing words. How many times do you say to your child, I love you, baby? At least 7 times in a day is required. When is the last time आपने 7 बार अपने बच्चे को बोला है, I love you? And then you want your child to love you, but you will never say to your child that I love you. How many times do you hug your child? My younger son will always come and hug me. At times he irritates me also. But that's his love language of my child. If your child is coming again and again to you and hugging you, which means his love language is physical touch. Give it to him. I mean, don't use these words like, no one wants a kid like you. Just go inside, don't talk to me. No, not now. Leave me alone. I mean, I do this also. Am I a perfect father? No, nobody is perfect. But every time I take this session, I realize, oh, this is the mistake. I'm also doing it. But ask yourself at the day end, are you using a lot of hurting words or healing words? Consciously use 2 healing words every day. Replace them. In our training to children, we teach them. I mean, students will use a lot of words like, oh shit. Why do you want a shit next to you? Why can't they use the word, oh God? Am I right, kids? Can you use oh God rather than oh shit? Important thing as a father is, as a parent is, which circle do you operate from? This is circle of concern, there is circle of control. How a child will do an exam is your circle of concern. But how can you develop the habit of a child is your circle of control. Unfortunate part is, majority of time, we are focused on the circle of concern rather than the circle of control. Always operate from circle of control. What type of habits? And one thing in children is, monkey see, monkey do. Whatever you will do, your child will copy that. If you want your children to perform in a particular way, you need to perform in a particular way. I had seen lot of parents, they will teach their children how to do brush. They will hold their mouth and they will take a brush and they will start brushing their teeth. What child will do? They will pick up their doll, take a toothbrush and start doing it. Monkey see, monkey do. Best way is be the example. You brush your teeth in a particular way, the child will watch you doing that, and that's how you can improve. Always operate from the circle of control. Fifth, next important is create a wedging. What a wedging means. See, today you cannot stop your children from playing games, but create a wedging. Give them an award of playing a game for an hour after they finish the X and Y task. Give them awards. Don't just give them a chocolate like that. Put up a price to it. Okay, if you do this particular thing in a day, at the end, I'm going to give you two things about it. So always create a wedging. Wedging of maybe 1 hour. Set up a time and limit for every. So today, when there a lot of energy is going through it, you're going to divert it in a more positive way. You control the flow and you set the limits. Next is, most important is communicate. Dining table is best place for the family. I can tell you, if your children are still not teenage, you can still correct the things. And the best place to correct is your dining table. Never ever take your mobile phones on the dining table. Never ever take. Family which communicates strongly is the one which stays together always. Maybe one meal of the day, maybe breakfast, maybe lunch, because of job challenges today with the timing constraints. Probably you may not be able to take 3 meals together on the dining table as a family, but can you fix one meal of the day together as a family? Maybe breakfast, maybe lunch. And that is the time, could be your consciously dedicated family time. Last tip for is, take your kids for the date. Now, what does it mean? If you have a daughter at home, let the father take your daughter on a date. Because your father is the first man in the life of a daughter, of a girl child. And mother is the first woman in the life of a boy. So what we suggest is, the father should take his daughter on a date. When he's taking his daughter on a date, he should not take his wife or the mother and the other sibling. If you have 3 children or 2 children, both boys, take one child at a time. Don't take both of them together. And when you are taking that child for a date, that is not the time to counsel. That is the time to listen them out. Listen what they have to tell you. They will tell you a lot of things. I mean, we have a joke here. When a child goes to his father or mother for a sound advice, parents only give sound. Hardly they give any advice. Ye nahi kiya tumne, wo nahi kiya, and all these things about it. So when you're taking your child for a date, always, this is basically to listen to them out. I'll just show you one video before I finish it off. But before I finish it off, I run this video. I like to run, I'll tell you one story. This is basically for our parents about it. And this one story which really touched my heart way long back when I heard it. You know, there was a father, he used to be very, very, very busy. Always he used to be busy with his work. You know, they have a around 5-year-old child. And the child used to come to the father. He says, "Dad, can I play with you?" The father will always tell, "Beta, I am working so hard for you and the family. I don't have a time. We'll play some other day." Then after a few days, again the child came. Father was again very busy. Same reason. It was happening for quite a few months. One day, father came from an office. Next day, he had AGM, so he got a lot of files with him at home. The child came. This little girl, it was a baby girl, came to the father with a small box. He said, "Dad, I got a gift for you." Father said, "I'm very busy. Don't disturb me." The girl said, "Papa, can you see this gift? I got this gift for you." Father said, "You better don't waste my time." And then he took this box from the girl. And when he opened the box, it was pretty empty. He threw the box and said, "I told you, don't disturb me. I'm working very hard right now. I have a very important meeting tomorrow." He shouted at the girl. The girl went to the room crying and went off to sleep. Next day morning, the girl was going to the school On the way, the girl met with an accident and died on the spot. Father was in office, got a news that girl met with an accident. He rushed to the hospital and saw the dead body of his daughter. He was shattered. After the last rites of this girl, he came back home, went to the room, saw the same box. A night before, this girl has gifted to her father. He opened the box. In the box, there was a slip. It was empty box, a slip. On that slip, the girl has written a note. Dad, I know you are working so hard for us. I am packing all my kisses in this box. Every time you feel tired, take out one kiss and feel it on your cheeks. You will not feel tired at all. I love you so much. Now, father had this letter in his hand and he started crying. Now, what he had is a box, a letter, and the death certificate of his daughter. I hope all the parents sitting over here is giving enough time to their children today so that tomorrow you don't have to regret what this father is regretting about. Really thankful to the school and the management for giving me this opportunity.
Like Swati ma'am to add some few words of wisdom to us. Swati ma'am.
Really a very wonderful session, Manish. We are grateful to you, and I'm thankful even to parents also that they have joined. I have seen many children also, those who have joined the session, and he has shared some nice and very effective tips which we are going to implement. Thanks a lot to Manish. Thank you to Neelima, Nazia, and Shalu. Thank you to all the parents.